Hey everyone, I'm Tracie Goodman and I'm the Agriculture and Natural Resource Extension Agent for McCreary County Cooperative Extension. And I'm continuing the Gardening Basics series today by talking about something that I'm personally well versed in, and that is common mistakes and how to avoid them. So first I want to point out that everyone makes mistakes, even experienced gardeners. I've been gardening for, a few years at this point, and I've personally made every single mistake that I'm getting ready to talk to you about. So just don't get discouraged by it. It takes a lot of time to learn how to garden, especially when everyone's property is different, everyone's gardening space is different. So it's going to take you a little bit of trial and error to figure out the best way to garden for you and for your property. And just keep in mind that there's always next year. Use this experience for this year to take you into the next growing season and learn from it. So one of the first mistakes that gardeners make is often just under-preparing their soil. Good soil conditions are extremely important to overall garden production. Now, the first thing that you want to avoid is tilling the soil when it's too wet. And trust me, I know this is difficult because I am dying to till my own garden right now, but it has rained for probably the last 3 to 4 days, and I know that that soil is going to be way too wet for me to use a tiller on it. If you do this when it's too wet, when it dries, it becomes really clumpy and hard and like cement-like, which makes it super difficult for your plants to thrive and for your seedlings to emerge. You also want to amend your soil prior to planting. This means adding compost to improve the texture and the drainage. You want to mulch to maintain that constant moisture content. You also want to add fertilizer and lime based on your soil test results. Now, we talked about soil testing in the very first program. It's super, super important to know what your soil needs before you apply anything to it. And your soil test is going to tell you what amount of nutrients that you need and whether or not your soil needs lime. And you want to get a soil test probably at least every 2 years so that you know exactly what's going on with your soil and you can improve it as you go along. So another mistake that gardeners make is putting their garden in a spot that doesn't get enough sunlight. If plants don't get enough sunlight, it slows down production. So you want to plant according to your seed packet or specifications for the vegetables that you're trying to grow. Some vegetables can tolerate a little bit of shade and be fine, but most vegetables need full sunlight to reach their fullest potential. So one of the most common mistakes that gardeners make, including myself, is planting too early. It's very tempting to stick your plants in the ground as soon as you see beautiful weather emerge, but you need to really be mindful of the area that you live in. So again, I've listed the plant hardiness zone, which is on the USDA site. McCreary County, Kentucky is in zone 6A, 6B. Areas in zone 6 on average reach 0 to negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit each winter. So first and foremost, you definitely want to pick plants that are going to grow well within your zone. Now, the last frost date for zone 6 is listed as approximately the last of April, 1st of May. This is an estimate. You don't necessarily have to go by these dates to plant. So you want to be really mindful of your weather forecast before you plant and make sure there isn't another frost out there. Also, I wanted to throw in that just because it's on the shelf doesn't mean that it's ready to plant. So you see tons of garden centers putting out plants in March. Does that mean that you should plant your tomatoes in March? No. So before you purchase transplants, just think about how soon you're going to be able to get those in the ground, and think about if you have a place to put them until you're ready to plant them. Now, the figure on the left demonstrates the average date of the last killing frost, which is 36 degrees in spring, and gives the approximate days that we have in our growing season, which is about 150 to 160 days. So if you do happen to plant too early, which happens to a lot of us, you definitely want to closely monitor that forecast after planting, even if it's, a safe date. Pay attention to your forecast and make sure that it's not going to enter another cold snap or a frost period. If there is danger of frost, you want to cover any of your frost tender plants, which are typically warm season crops like tomatoes and peppers. It's preferable that you use a breathable material, so honestly, a cotton bed sheet would work perfectly. This will allow airflow while also protecting your plants from frost. And you want to make sure and remove the covering the next morning so that they can get air and sunlight as needed. If your plants are in containers, now this is an easy fix because you can just move them under a shelter or inside. Also, you can install row covers or low tunnels to protect your plants from frost and to also increase your soil temperature. So one of the things that is really important to do before you plant, and we've talked about this before, is that you want to harden off your transplants before you move them to the garden. This prepares them for life outside of the perfectly controlled greenhouse that they came from. This exposes them to lower temperatures, and you want to reduce watering and fertilizing just to get them prepared to grow in the ground. So another mistake that I'm also guilty of is overplanting. Now, beginning gardeners often overplant, and then in turn, they end up failing because they can't keep up with the task required. It gets really overwhelming. So just keep in mind that whatever you plant, you are going to have to manage. Weeds and pests have to be managed, water has to be applied when needed, and your harvesting needs to be done on time. So you want to strike a balance, though, between planting enough in case some of them die or end up not germinating, but not so much that you can't take care of it all and you end up getting stressed out. Also, one of my suggestions is to stagger your plantings. So this keeps you from having to harvest everything all at once because, I'll use squash as an example. It's super abundant, it grows quickly, and it all becomes ready at the same time, basically. So if you stagger your squash plants, you're not going to have so much in your face at one time to take care of. Also, I want to encourage you to resist the urge to try too many things, especially in the first year. Now, the picture is something that I had to come to terms with a few days ago. I was going to actually go and buy more seeds until I got out the seeds that I already had for this year. And these are all of the seeds that I committed to planting myself this year, which is ridiculous. I'm not going to be able to plant all of this year. So I have to sit down, make a plan, figure out what varieties that I really, really want to try this year and what I can realistically keep up with. And, try to whittle it down to what you know that you're actually going to eat and what you actually want to take care of and that you have the time to take care of. Now, another one is inconsistent watering. I'm really putting myself on blast here in this presentation. Don't forget your plants like I did. I just bought transplants probably a couple of weeks ago, and I stuck them in my little mini greenhouse, and I kind of forgot about them for a few days. So my tomato plants were looking pretty poor. And that's because I forgot to water them. So don't be like me. Don't forget to water your plants, whether or not you have planted them already. They need water and care on a consistent basis. And once they're in the ground or wherever you've planted them, make a watering schedule and stick to it. Also, you want to water before nightfall to allow time for the foliage to dry, which we have talked about in other programs. Now, another note is do not overwater. That can be just as detrimental as underwatering. So you got to maintain a good balance and water based on what your plant's needs are. Overcrowding is something that is also easily done because seeds are tiny little things, right? So you think about summer squash. Your seeds are tiny. The plants, once they reach maturity, spread out to at least 3 feet. So you have to make sure that the area that you're planting in allows enough space for your plant once it reaches maturity. And follow instructions on your seed packets or based on the type of plants that you're planting, just so that you know how close together they can actually be while maintaining good production. If you're planting seedlings, make sure to thin out your seedlings because this reduces competition. And it also gives your plants enough space to develop a healthy root system. if you're planting in pots, make sure that your pot is large enough to accommodate the roots as the plant matures. Or if you plant it in trays, consider uppotting as your plants grow, because as they grow, they need more space to spread their roots out. Now, this is what I ended up doing to try to save my sad little tomato plants. I did water them, and I got out just a collection of pots, random pots that I had that were slightly bigger than the container that they were in, because these tomatoes were grown in cell packs. So I separated these out into a little bit bigger pots just to give them a little bit more room until I had the chance to plant them, which will be probably another week from now. Now, another thing that beginning gardeners often do, and even experienced gardeners, because gardening is not super easy, especially when it gets super hot in the summertime, is slacking off mid-season. Now, definitely you want to take care of your garden daily to optimize your yields and maintain good conditions. So this means controlling weeds and pests on a regular basis, fertilize mid-season, so feed your plants appropriately with what they need. Oftentimes gardeners will side dress with nitrogen later in the season, and you want to harvest regularly to allow new growth and to keep your plants healthy. So one of the things that I also wanted to mention is that sometimes plants die. It's okay. Even the most experienced gardeners will have plants die. It's just not really avoidable sometimes. Things happen during the growing season. You can have unanticipated weather events. It can storm really bad and knock all of your stuff down or destroy some things, or you can have maybe a pest invasion, potato bugs. They might get all your potato plants. That's happened to me before. It's just kind of snuck up on me. Deer can eat things out of the garden that you weren't counting on. Sometimes you might buy unhealthy transplants and not know it. Also, you can have diseases take over, like tomato blight, and it just ruins your tomatoes. You may have poor soil, and you may also have a poor germination rate in the seeds that you plant. Things happen, but don't let it discourage you from trying again next year. So yeah, there's always next year. Take things from this growing season that you have learned into the next one. Start planning early in the season for your next garden, so that you have a plan, so that you know what you're going to grow, and you get your seeds ordered or whatever it is that you plan to do. Just be prepared, and that helps so much. Also helps to choose disease-resistant cultivars, because this is going to help you manage disease control going into the next season. You can start your own seeds. If you prepare early enough and get a jump start on it, that will give you enough time to start your own seeds, and so that you can control the health of your own transplants. One of the important things that you can do is begin amending your soil in the fall. So when your garden is done for the season, start preparing then. Get a soil test so that it tells you what you need to add to your soil for the next growing season. So also ask plenty of questions, study research-based materials, study the plants that you are hoping to grow for the next season, and learn as much as you can about it. You can never learn too much with gardening. And take your experience from the last season and use it. I think that is the most valuable thing you can do, is to learn from your own mistakes. So this is my tried and true reference that I use in basically every presentation, because it's such a great guide to home vegetable gardening. It's the Home Vegetable Gardening in Kentucky Guide, a publication by the University of Kentucky College of Agriculture, Food, and Environment. And I will link the PDF below in the description if you want to check that out. And also, the best reference for this presentation was my own mistakes, because as I said, I have made all of these. I continue to make some of these. I think they're great learning experiences, and I always carry lessons from that going forward. And this is my contact information. If you have any questions about anything in this presentation, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll definitely help you in any way that I can. Thank you for watching.